Hi, welcome to the class. My name is Griffin Pivito. I'll be your professor for this course. This course is the Legal Environment of Business, and its number is LSB 3213. Now, LSB 3213 is one of the core curriculum classes, meaning it is one of 12 classes that everyone in the business school will take. So I thought I would start out the class by talking a little bit about why we're here and what's the point of studying law in a business school. So why study the law in business school? Well, we all know that businesses experience legal trouble. And if you don't know that yet, you will quickly discover it once you enter into the business world. Businesses are always encountering legal trouble. And this legal trouble often stems from a lack of knowledge. Not just a lack of knowledge of what the law is, but also a lack of knowledge of what the law isn't. Now, I practiced law for a long time before coming to OSU, so I've seen this over and over with my own clients. I had a client once who was a smallish corporation, about 50 employees. Now, the owner of the company, who was also CEO, had difficulty with his accounting staff. And his first controller, he decided that they did not get along, and so he fired him. Okay, that's illegal, right? Employment at will. We can fire someone for any reason. Good reason, bad reason, no reason at all. And so he hires a replacement. Now, the first comptroller was a white male. The second comptroller was an Hispanic male. But once again, the exact same thing happened. The CEO grew tired of the comptroller and wanted to change. And so after about a year, he terminated the comptroller and started looking for someone else to hire. Now again, the second termination, that's justified. The employment at will. Didn't like the person, didn't get along, therefore terminated. Now for the third comptroller he hires, it's a woman. And once again, the exact same thing happens with his new comptroller in that he has difficulties with her, and eventually he reaches the point where he wants to fire her. But he is very cautious because he thinks that there are special rules governing termination of women. And so he colludes with some of his top management people, and they decide they're going to keep a file on everything that this woman does, good or bad, so that they're able to have a lot of evidence in case they're ever sued for sex discrimination. Well, as I said, this was a small sort of corporation, and word got back to the comptroller that they were keeping tabs on her, getting ready to fire her. And so she went to the CEO and she said, "If you fire me, I will file a claim for sex discrimination." And so what did the CEO do? He fired her. If he had fired her when he first wanted to, that would have been legal. That would have been fine. That's employment at will. And we know that it's nothing to do with her being a woman because he fired the two previous people in that position. But if you fire someone after that person has indicated that they will file a discrimination claim, well, that's retaliation, and that's against the law. And so this person, this company, this client, did not fire the person when they should have, but fired her when they should not have. So legal trouble often comes out of lack of knowledge, not just of what the law is, but what the law isn't. And I hope you'll see by the end of this lecture that law isn't just for lawyers. It's the foundation of every successful business. So in this lecture, we're going to examine why studying law is essential for your business career. Let's look briefly at what the law is, the law in a business context. What do we mean when we say business law? People often refer to this class as business law. Well, what do we mean by business law? Well, business law is that set of rules that governs how businesses interact with each other, their customers, and society as a whole. We'll be focused more on what is the law in our first lecture, but I thought I would just give you an introduction to the idea of business law. And what this does, business law provides the framework for fair competition, it protects the rights of businesses, and it ensures that the businesses have ethical practices. Now, essentially, the law is like the rules of a game. You need to know the rules in order to play the game effectively. And so that's what we are studying here. We are really studying the rules to the game. And the reason why is that you don't want to play the game unless you know the rules. So this is one of the reasons why we have to study law in business school. So why study law for a business career? I thought about this, and there's a number of things that came to my mind as to why we would study law and what's the benefit of studying law. Starting with informed decision making. If you are aware of the law, you can identify lucrative opportunities that will align with current regulations in place. You can assess risks. You can make the right choice when it comes to minimizing your legal exposure. You'll be able to negotiate contracts with confidence and protect your interests. So, informed decision making. What's another advantage? Risk mitigation. Reducing risk, minimizing risk, avoiding costly lawsuits, as well as regulatory fines. And we'll be talking about potential lawsuits and fines throughout the course. You can also safeguard your intellectual property. Intellectual property, very important nowadays. Many companies depend on having their IP, and so you need to safeguard your patents and your trademarks and your copyrights in order to remain profitable. And finally, to manage potential liabilities to protect your company's reputation. We've certainly seen in the last few years that reputation matters a lot. And so one can best protect their reputation by understanding what is the law, specifically the law of defamation. Ethical leadership. You can foster a culture of integrity and compliance. Compliance with the law, compliance with ethics, compliance with the various administrative regulations. All of those go into forming a culture of integrity. You can also build trust with customers and employees and important stakeholders, whether those are shareholders or community members, any of those. You can also make decisions that align with your company's values. Oftentimes we believe today that a company should have values. And so it is possible to make legal decisions that will align with your company's values. Competitive advantage. This is another very important aspect of the law. And for those of you who are studying management, for instance, much of management is based on the idea of what can I do to achieve competitive advantage. And one of those is to innovate within legal boundaries and to develop strategic plans that leverage your legal knowledge and your skills. And this gives you the opportunity to expand into new markets with an understanding of international law as well. I wrote a paper a while back on how to achieve competitive advantage by using non-competes. And that paper has really taken off in the last few years, leading up to an actual citation by the Federal Trade Commission in their new rule banning the use of non-compete agreements. And so this idea of competitive advantage is something that is at the forefront of what business people do. Career advancement for you personally. You can qualify for any leadership role that demands legal knowledge. For instance, many corporations, especially large corporations, today have a compliance department, and there is a great opportunity for compliance officers. You can pursue these specialized careers in compliance or risk management, or maybe you want to go to law school at some point. You can launch your own business with a solid legal foundation. So, in conclusion, why do we study law in business school? The law provides this framework, the framework for fair competition. It protects rights and it ensures ethical practices. And as we discussed, there are a number of key benefits that you gain from studying the law. And we return to that same statement. Law isn't just for lawyers. It's the foundation of every successful business. All right, as we go through the semester, don't be afraid to reach out, ask me any questions you may have, and I would be happy to answer those back to you. Feel free to send me an email, come by my office, call my office. I'll be happy to discuss any matter with you. Thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to the semester. Take care. Bye-bye.